I'm very sure that you guys have heard of this monitor before. This is the Samsung Odyssey G9 Neo, a 49-inch 32:9 monitor with bonkers specs and also NVIDIA G-Sync built in. This monitor is actually built to be on the top of its class, and we did our test here today and we want to share with you what we found out about this monitor. I think we should talk about some of the basics about this monitor first. It goes without saying that this monitor will take up a lot of desk space, and not just that the width of your desk but also the depth of your desk as well, because the 1000R curvature of this monitor will take up a huge chunk of your space. However, we also need to include the depth of the desk taken up by the included monitor arm as well, because by this design, this monitor is already very heavy, so the monitor arm will be sloped and angled to support that weight. And it is also using a tripod design, which I usually don't like, but in this case it is okay since the angle between the tripod legs are huge and I can stuff the keyboard in between those legs. This included monitor arm is also very well designed in terms of its ergonomics. We have tilt, height and also pivot adjustment, and the pivot adjustment is not from the base but from the tip of the neck of the monitor arm, which I think is an extremely innovative design, and it works really well, especially for a big and heavy monitor like this one. The included neck of this monitor arm is also covered by a piece of plastic that we can remove, and then we can see a huge cable channel for us to use it for cable management as well. Plus, there's also a headphone stand at the back of this monitor arm's neck, which I won't use since I find it quite annoying to reach to the back of the monitor every time I want to use the headphone. While we're here, I should also mention that this monitor comes with double HDMI ports, one single display port, double USB 3.0 Type A ports, and one uplink port, and also one audio pass-through port. One of those USB-A port that we mentioned earlier is used for servicing, which is meant for updating the firmware of this monitor. Samsung provided a few firmware updates for this monitor already, but I realized that I needed to use a USB 3.0 thumb drive to perform the update. I tried numerous USB 2.0 drives, but they just don't work, and I have no idea why, because it's usually the other way around. If you want to reclaim most of the wasted space of this monitor's arm, you can get only one choice of monitor arm, which is the Ergotron HX, and you will also need to get the HD pivot adapter for that monitor arm to work properly with this Odyssey G9 Neo, because of the weird way that this monitor is designed, and the cost if you want to use a monitor arm will add up quite a lot. Okay, now for the panel of this monitor itself, this is a massive 49-inch screen with an aspect ratio of 32:9 and a curvature of 1000R, while also having a resolution of 5120 by 1440 pixels, and it can also go up to 240Hz refresh rate. Yet it supports NVIDIA G-Sync and also AMD FreeSync Premium Pro, while promising 1 millisecond gray-to-gray response time. But that is not all. This monitor is also using a VA panel with a mini LED backlighting, and Samsung calls it the Quantum Mini LED backlighting, and honestly speaking, this monitor is insanely bright. It is so bright, in fact, that when we turn on HDR, the brightness of this monitor, reported by our color meter, is at 500 nits of brightness. Remember, the nits measurement is candela per meter square, which means the density of brightness. Across such a huge display, the amount of light entering our eyes is a lot. For our color accuracy test, we disabled HDR and go back to SDR mode, and then we change the brightness to 100 nits of brightness, and then we split this display into 3 different segments to test the color accuracy. And from what we can find out, the white point, as in the individual red, green and blue color intensity of this monitor, is surprisingly similar, which is really good. That means the white point is accurate. This monitor is also factory calibrated, and you can see the grayscale maximum delta E from the OSD menu, and the unit that we have here is at 2.18. But when colors are involved, the delta E that we measured is always lower than 2, and I have to say, Samsung did a really good job to ensure the color accuracy coming out of this monitor across such a huge panel is good and consistent. There's also a lot of features that we can fine-tune using the OSD menu, but I'm only gonna highlight one mode here, which is picture-by-picture mode. Recall that this monitor is a 49-inch 32:9 and we can split it down the middle to have double 27-inch 16:9 monitors with the resolution of 2560 by 1440 pixels. I can see a lot of Twitch streamers using picture-by-picture mode because you can hook up one half of the display to your PC and then the second half of the display to maybe your PS5, PS4, Xbox and whatnot, and then you can use a capture card to stream it to your Twitch viewers. And Samsung also has a utility software that you can download and install on your Windows PC, so you can easily segmentize the display for multiple windows opening at the same time. But if you want to use it, you can. It's just something that I don't prefer. And then I also realized that there's one major missing feature on this monitor, which is the brightness adjustment using Samsung's utility. I tried using Twinkle Tray as well, but I found out that this monitor doesn't support DCC/CI. In short, it enables the monitor's brightness to be changed via Windows operating system without touching the OSD menu. We also did a video regarding DDC/CI at the top right corner there, so if you want to watch it, you can. I just find it weird that Samsung omitted this feature from a monitor that is so expensive and it is found on 99% of other monitors in the market right now. Now, how is it like to actually use this monitor to play games? Well, that actually depends on what game you are playing. We did a video where we talk about playing games on a monitor that is larger or wider than the standard 16:9 aspect ratio, so you can check it out at the top right corner there. As a quick summary, many games do not scale up to 21:9, which is commonly referred to ultra-wide, and even fewer games can scale up to this type of display, which is 32:9 in aspect ratio, which is called super wide by the Widescreen Gaming Forum, also known as the WSGF. If you're playing 3D platformer games like A Hat in Time, then it will feel disorienting and nauseating at the same time. I think I can finally pinpoint why this kind of display feels nauseating to play certain games. It kind of reminds me that when I'm playing VR games actually, because my brain doesn't have any position to anchor my view, so when my entire vision is engulfed by the screen, including my peripheral vision, it just feels disorienting. For someone who gets motion sickness easily like me, I gotta be mindful of this kind of situation. And ultimately, that also depends on how tolerable a game will be when you're playing using this kind of super wide display. In terms of adjustments that you can do to the game to make it more tolerable, that depends on the game itself and also the game developer. Because usually we will have an FOV slider or field of view slider to maybe reduce the warping around the peripheral vision side, but yeah, if you go for a larger FOV, then the sides will be a bit more warped than before. With that said, I do find myself enjoying a certain kind of 2D games like Death's Door than what we're showing here. That game feels amazing. So in conclusion, is this monitor expensive? Yes, it is. Originally priced at 9,499 ringgit and currently going for 7,999 ringgit on Samsung's official website. I think that the price is insanely high, but also there's no other competition in the market right now with this kind of specs to offer. There are cheaper super wide monitors out there, but they don't offer the same package like this monitor. You can get the AOC Aegon AG49-3UCX that we reviewed previously, that has the same size but half the refresh rate, and also no mini LED backlighting, no G-Sync, and it just doesn't look as good as this monitor. And so that's all we have to share with you about the Samsung Odyssey G9 Neo. And currently there's someone waiting to play Valorant. You wanna try?
Yep.
Go, go, go!